Welcome to The Storied Life. I'm your host and co-founder, Lana Jackson, and I'm joined by my sister and co-host, Jilene.
Hey, everyone.
Today, we are joined by Kristin and Kofi Essel, New York-based luxury jewelry designers and founders of Third Crown, a collection of gender-neutral, everyday statement jewelry. After graduating from Florida State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Apparel Design, Kristin interned at David Yurman before stints at Reed Krakoff and Eddie Borgo, while Kofi studied menswear at the Fashion Institute of Technology and worked for several menswear brands like Nautica, Converse, and Kenneth Cole, amongst others. Applying their collective experience and passion, this husband and wife team and their jewelry brand Third Crown celebrates mutual fascination with structure, architectural lines, and bold accents. Since their debut, they've caught the attention of style icons Solange and Beyoncé Knowles, and we're excited to sit down and listen to their story. Welcome to The Storied Life, Kristin and Kofi. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So jumping right in, we love Black love and always want to celebrate that. And we just want to know your story. Like, how did you guys meet?
We met randomly in a cab.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still in college and I came to New York for vacation for 2 weeks, and we had mutual friends who were celebrating a birthday party. So we all went to a restaurant, and then after a restaurant, we went to this club called Club Bed, and everyone ran into the cabs, and then me, Kofi, and then one of my other friends were the last ones to catch cabs. So we all were in a cab together to the club, and that's how we met.
That's cool. You guys already had mutual friends that you knew, but you guys kind of weren't together and didn't know of each other.
No. We didn't see each other at the restaurant. We only saw each other at when we were looking for the cabs. Yeah.
Okay. That's so cool. I always want to know how people meet. I just feel like it's such a magical moment when, it's kind of this serendipitous occasion and you meet somebody that becomes your life partner. And so that's really cool how that happened. It feels like a good meet cute at the start of a romantic comedy kind of.
Yeah. And I also am just impressed not only just with your personal relationship, but as a creative partners. And that's something that we definitely can relate to as well as sisters, being each other's creative partners. So wanted to learn a little bit more about what it's like as a married couple being creative partners together. And also if there were things that were easy or difficult about the relationship of working together as a design team.
Yeah.
It's a relationship first and foremost, and then we started the business from that. So a lot of times it's kind of a happy wife, happy life situation. So she usually kind of runs the show. And then, we differ on certain opinions, but ultimately the goal is to drive the brand forward. So as long as we can agree on that, that's kind of what leads the path for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's probably me. I'm the boss. I'm the boss here. Jilene's so wonderful though, because I think we bring different gifts to things. So for me, studying fashion design, and I'm more creative and more so the person with the vision and the passion. But Jilene has a background in UX, and UI, web design and app design. And so she's kind of that technical side. And so it's really, it's difficult sometimes working together when you're working with family and it's someone you love, but we were just interested in that because there's always the highs and lows of that, because that person gets you, but it's also this is a business and we want to be successful as well.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So that's pretty much the same thing for us, is that, we love to create together, but also it's a business. So it's we have to make the right decisions to actually be successful and let the brand actually grow. So, although we butt heads on certain things, ultimately, once everything comes to fruition, you kind of see that, wow, yeah, this was a good choice. Or, you take a step back and you're like, oh, actually, yeah, my view on that was actually a little bit off. So it's better that we went this way. And then, there's learning moments where, things don't work out. And then, you just kind of have to push forward and just learn from those instances. So.
Yeah, and then we both have different aspects to the business. Like you said, she does the web design. Well, Kofi does the CAD design for for our jewelry. So, and I can't do that. So pretty much we design it together. Then he works on the CAD design, and then I'm the one mainly doing the product development, where I'm talking to the factories and just making sure that everything is correct when it comes to like the jewelry process. So we both bring different aspects, which is pretty good for our design process.
Yeah, definitely. And sort of sticking to that, I would love to know a little bit about the story behind Third Crown. And so I was reading that it was kind of born out of this like Christmas gift that you made for Kofi, and it kind of went on from there. And I was wondering if you could share that story with us and sort of how Third Crown was born.
Yeah, I made a rosary for Kofi for Christmas one Christmas. He pretty much, I asked him what he wanted for Christmas, and he was talking about like this David Yurman.
It was like a
beaded like bracelet, which was like $500 or something. David Yurman like, and I was like, okay, I can't afford that, but I can make something for you. So I made him a rosary, and then that's when rosaries were like really big at that one point. I made him a rosary, and then he was wearing it everywhere, and people were coming up to him, asking him where did he get it from. Got a lot of compliments. So then one day he came home and he was like, do you want to start selling this? Because I've been getting so many compliments on it. Mm-hmm. So we pretty much decided to start our jewelry brand. We didn't focus on the rosaries when we started Third Crown. We wanted it to be like a jewelry brand that had more categories. So that's when we pretty much
sat down and
fleshed it all brainstormed out. Yeah, like what would the name be, what would we sell, what our first pieces would look like, and so from there. But the rosary is pretty much what started Third Crown.
And then even down to the logo, Kristin designed the logo, and it was pretty cool that how 3 triangles kind of formed a crown. And that in a sense is what Third Crown is about: 2 creatives coming together to form a third entity. So
Yeah, I really love that, especially as a designer myself and making logos. I studied the logo a little bit and love the use of the triangle and sort of this understanding of creating a third entity or this sort of trinity that exists together. So I thought that was really cool, and I've seen the incorporation of the triangle or sort of the 3D triangle in other places, even in Lana's jewelry as well. So that's really cool to kind of hear the story behind how Third Crown came to be and sort of the meaning behind the name, and wanted to know a little bit more, especially as a design person myself, wanting to know a little bit more about your design philosophy. If you can tell me a little bit more about that and what the aesthetic of Third Crown is. Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah. For us, when we first started doing jewelry, we noticed that a lot of jewelry was very traditional and small and dainty. And, nothing against that. But for us, we wanted our jewelry to be more outspoken, bolder, more dynamic. So that was the basis of our design strategy, was to have something that's everyday statements, that it's still comfortable to wear every day, but it's it's bold, it stands out. So that's the kind of driving force in our design DNA of making sure it's not too small and not too dainty, because for us, we love having our jewelry stand out. It's just like the icing on the cake of your creative expression in your clothing. So once you put on your outfit, you just add those elements, and it's just like takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I think that like what also really attracted me to Third Crown is I really like bold, like chunky, big jewelry. I feel like it's really hard to find statement pieces like that, because there kind of was this period where everybody was doing kind of like the minimalist jewelry and everything's very dainty and light. And I was just like, I'm not into that. I like things that feel heirloom and that feel heavy and feel like they have a weight behind them and a story behind them. Mm-hmm. Even like with the earrings that I'm wearing right now, I just feel like you're right, it's so comfortable. It's very lightweight, but it's very like noticeable. It's not heavy, but it's still bold and it feels like it has some substance to it. Thinking about sort of, your design process. I read that you guys designed from your home in Harlem. Is that where you guys are now?
Yeah. Well, we moved from Harlem to Brooklyn, so we're in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brooklyn and the atmosphere that's here. I mean, nothing against Harlem. Harlem also had its own vibe and essence, but you know, as our relationship grows, we're looking for where we want to kind of raise our family as well. So that's part of the decision to move into Brooklyn.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And yeah, like Jilene said, that's where she was born and where our family began, actually. But you guys design from your home, or do you have like an atelier or design space that you work from?
No,
so right now we're home.
Designing from home. Yeah,
Work from home.
We've always been designing from home. That's the birth of the idea, the birth of all the designs, and that's kind of just how we create in our own space, because we're always thinking about our brand and what's next. So, you know, we're always, you know, even if we're sitting down watching a movie or something catches our eye or something pops in our head, we like, you know, jot it down or like start talking about it right then and there. So that's just how we've come accustomed to designing our stuff. It would be great to have like a studio space so that we, you know, kind of move out of like designing at home and kind of having a space that's specific to designing and creating, but we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah. And Kristin, you had mentioned before that, you know, you will have a vision for kind of the design and you articulate that to Kofi and he puts that into CAD. Can you speak a little bit more to like your design process? It feels very organic in terms of, like you said, you guys kind of have, you know, something that comes to mind and you kind of want to create that. Looking at the website and seeing the different collections, do you guys plan collections? Is it more something that just happens because of inspiration and so these pieces kind of all kind of reverberate from that? Or do you decide like, you know, for like spring, summer, like this is the direction we want to go in? Or is it more so just the collections are based on inspirations you have about, you know, something in architecture, like the Arc Bangle or things like that?
Well, we only do one collection per year right now. And what we do with our collections are we want our whole entire brand to be pretty much like a book. So pretty much like the first collection was our art collection. So that's like the first chapter of Third Crown. And then our next collection was called the Melting Arc collection. So it's pretty much like a continuation from the Arc collection. We just changed it to Marcy because Marcy just sounds better than Melting Arc. So our first collection was the Arc collection, which was inspired by the Arc de Triomphe in Paris with our Arc bangle, our Arc ring, and then we had like Arc studs and like a choker. And so from there we went to the Melting Arc collection, also known as the Marcy collection, which was pretty much we took that same arc shape and just melted it around your finger or your wrist for your bangle. As a bangle. And then from there, we went to our Prism collection where we went back to our art collection and just took the beveling shape that we do and amplified it to like the next level. So pretty much when you look at our Prism collection, nothing's like smooth or like that singular bevel like our art collection. It's pretty much like chopped up like arcs together.
Prismatic detail.
Exactly.
That was born from the art collection. So like she said, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and it's all kind of just evolving from the first chapter. There are elements of other architectural details that we find that we kind of infuse into it. But essentially, we're all working pretty much from that first chapter and building forward from there.
Yeah, so our next collection will still look like when you see our next collection, you'll know that it's a Third Crown piece just because you'll recognize the shape, you'll recognize the details. Like even if you look at our Prism collection, we have a 3-row bangle that is part of the Prism collection. But then when you go back to our art collection, you'll see that we started with the 3-row ring and it looks the same. So that girl who bought the 3-row ring, when the art collection came out, she can also now buy the 3-row bangle and it looks different, but it looks the same and it's recognizable that, okay, that's Third Crown.
That was another design element that we wanted to incorporate in addition to being, you know, bold and dynamic. statement jewelry, we wanted to make sure everything was cohesive, because a lot of brands that we saw, the men's pieces looked a lot different than the women's pieces, and it didn't seem like it was the same brand. So for us, toting that line of gender neutrality, as well as consistency and cohesiveness was key for us, is making sure, all the pieces work back to each other, all the collections work back to each other, and they can be worn. There's a sense of duality. You can, as a guy, you can wear it. As a girl, you can wear it. You can wear it with your friends. You can wear it with your partner. And that was, those are the key elements of Third Crown.
Yeah, I really love that, of just how the pieces kind of can work together, and how versatile they are, which I think marries well definitely with your brand and your relationship of demonstrating in jewelry a versatility, a cohesion that kind of comes together, being able to match other pieces from other collections. I actually was taking a look at one of the rings. I think it was the 3-layered ring. I'd never seen anything like it, with 3 different types of metals.
That's the prism ring set. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's like rose gold and golden and silver together. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like that. Would love to see that in a bracelet or in other jewelry settings. So really cool how you're incorporating the brand, your relationship together, all mixed in, as well as an opportunity for just a jewelry wearer to be able to mix and match, and love that. Definitely that there's also an ability for men and women to wear it, no gender to it.
Yeah, I think that's really important for me too, and like the pieces that I have in my collection, because I want things to feel cohesive and I want to feel like I'm mixing and matching. But because like everything is connected and you're building from previous designs, I'm always going to know that my pieces are going to go together and make it much easier for me when I'm putting myself together to pick the things that I want to wear, because I know it's all going to flow. So I love that. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you guys about was just, I love history, and I love just kind of, observing where we are in our cultural moment and how we've arrived here. And something that I've been noticing in terms of just, I think in the luxury market in general, but specific to jewelry, there seems to be kind of a movement away from like exclusive white-owned luxury and European jewelry brands and towards more independent jewelry designers. And I think of brands like Third Crown, I think of Kyrie or Omi Woods, and I just really love seeing how, as people of color, as Black artists, that we have a different perspective on luxury. And it's one that is inclusive, I feel, because we see luxury not just as a price point, the way that I think sort of white and European owned luxury kind of presents itself, but we see luxury as a perspective. I think of, going far back as fashion brands like Dapper Dan and things like that. It wasn't always just that, like, this is an expensive piece, this is Louis Vuitton, but it's how he presented it, and it became a perspective. And I see that so much as a pattern with Black designers, how we interpret luxury. And so I really wanted to kind of get your thoughts, being both Kofi being Ghanaian and Kristin being Jamaican, and we're also Caribbean as well, we're Guyanese. But, I would love your thoughts on how you feel that as Black artists, you guys are reframing luxury around the balance of our many cultural identities as Black people, because, you're Caribbean, Kofi is African, we're Guyanese. And I just feel like within the Black community, as designers, there's so many cultural identities. It's not monolithic. And so I really see you guys as a part of that, and showing people that luxury is so much more than this one thing. And so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for us, that's always been in the baseline of how we started. Like she said, when I wanted that David Yurman piece, she couldn't afford it at the time. So that is kind of always in the back of our mind when we create product and price things, because, we obviously our stuff looks luxury because of the way it's designed, but we also want our customer to realize that we are creating a particular price point for them, and not so just putting any kind of price on it just to just to be expensive or just to look luxury. For us, it's more so designing a really great piece and then figuring out what pricing actually makes sense for our customer and for our brand. So when you look at our products, there's the full range of pricing from $100, $80, going all the way up to $800. So there's something kind of for everybody. And also just making sure that it speaks to who we are. I don't necessarily want $1,000 necklace. For us, we're starting with brass metals that are plated. And that's kind of where we found, I guess, the sweet spot to make our artistic expression without, breaking the bank just to create something beautiful. I think that's kind of where we wanted to start. And as we grow the business, there are opportunities to explore other tiers and price points. But for us, the ability to create the pieces the way we want them is kind of where we wanted to start. And that's kind of the cornerstone of how our brand looks. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it does speak to the luxury because of the way it looks, but it's not crazy expensive. It's contemporary.
Yeah,
so.
And also because our pieces are so bold. Like if it was a solid gold piece, it would be like $50,000, which we wouldn't want anyone even paying $50,000 for a big like gold bangle. So that's pretty much where our price points come from, and what we do. You said your Kofi's from Ghana, and in Ghana, like a lot of people wear the gold, like big gold bracelets, big gold chains, and it's solid gold, but we want to showcase that aspect or those type of designs with our collections, but put it at a price point that people are more affordable for.
Yeah, it's more attainable.
Yeah, I think that's really wonderful and thoughtful that there's, like you said, there's something for everybody in your line, and that it's luxury, but it's accessible luxury. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like, I don't know, I just think there's something in the posture of us as people of color that we want to operate that way, that we want people to be a part of our own, of our brands, and we want to make it accessible to everyone. And I think that there's a lot that white-owned brands can really learn from that, and really learn from what we are creating and how we create it and what we do within that. So I just think that's really inspiring, and it makes me, really proud as a Black woman, as I'm building my own collection of jewelry that I might want to pass down to my children, that I can turn to them and say, this is a really important piece. This is luxury jewelry. This is made by, Black people. This is our own, community of creators. And in that community, this is luxury, and this is where this came from. And it's about this perspective that these artists have. And because of their cultural backgrounds and because of their experiences. And I just think that's so much more meaningful than, passing down some chest of, I don't know, whatever's out there, Neil Lane or whatever. I mean, no offense, I think we all have something to bring to the table. I'm just glad to see us bringing it to the table and creating our own legacy of what we know is luxurious. And I just think that's important.
And not just the arbitrariness of what luxury is, but actually having a perspective and a story behind it, whether that's where you come from, the materials that you're using. I think all of those things as well make something a luxury as well. Just the design of it, how you're using the materials, as opposed to putting something arbitrarily at a price point. It could be in a luxury market, and I love the inclusiveness of it.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to chat with you guys just about the sort of cultural impact that you're making with jewelry, and taking a look at cultural icons. We had talked or introduced a little bit to our listeners that individuals like Beyoncé and Solange have worn your jewelry, and just wanted to chat with you a little bit about what it means to you as a Black-owned business, making an impact in the culture, and it resonating with some of the cultural icons that we've come to love.
Yeah. How did that happen, and what was that like for you guys?
It was interesting because it was back when we first started, and we kind of got lucky where someone put us in touch with Zarina Akers, who was styling her at the time, and we asked to send some things over, and we did. However, she didn't wear it until like about a year later. And Kristin can tell you how we kind of found out about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Solange wore our pieces before Beyonce. So Solange wore it at her Coachella performance. And so she wore it. We were super excited about that.
Yeah, she wore it a couple times.
Yeah, she wore it a couple of times for that month. And then we saw Beyonce posted a picture on Instagram, and one of my friends from college was like, "Oh, isn't that your jewelry?" And I was like, "No," because I totally forgot that we sent Beyonce pieces, because it was a year before she even wore it. And she's like, "Oh, well, Solange just wore your stuff, so maybe she just gave some pieces to Beyonce." And I was kind of like, "No, that's not how it works." And then like her stylist tagged us in the photo, like, "Hey, this is you," and we're like, "Oh," and so then we started like stalking like all of her like paparazzi pictures, and so she was wearing all of our pieces like when she was in Paris. So it was kind of cool that she was at the Arc de Triomphe wearing our Arc Bangle, which was inspired by that. Wow. So she wore the Arc de Triomphe, our Arc Bangle in Paris, and then she also wore a lot of our other pieces. Like she wore this ring when she was over there. Yeah. And then that's just how we found out that she was wearing our pieces, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, first of all, you have a good friend, number one. Number two, I mean, that she was able to even recognize your jewelry. So that's just a testament to your design skills and being able to create things that are recognizable. That she's like, I know that bracelet.
It was the way she was like just standing under the arc, like wearing the Arc Bangle. It was
perfect.
Weird.
Yeah, love it.
How does she even? Wow.
Yeah, and like, so because I know what you meant when you said like that's not how it works. Like these things are very like deliberate, and you have to work through people's people and stuff like that. But were they really just like sisters sharing jewelry? And she's like, "Hey, I have this. You want to try it on?" Or
that story would be dope, because that's what our brand DNA is around. So it would have been awesome if that was the case. But I think Solange was in New York when.
Yeah, it was, because it was the piece that we sent to Beyonce. So it's not like
it was different pieces. So it was like it's not that didn't actually happen, but it would be cool if that was the case.
Yeah, it would be. And kind of like flashing back to when we were talking before, as luxury and being Black designers. I think, obviously this past year and everything that has gone on, it's definitely created this cultural moment where we are finally championing Black-owned businesses. And this sort of Black-owned business movement has kind of erupted. I mean, people like you both have always existed. And sometimes I don't know how to feel about this like Black-owned movement, because I'm like, it's not a movement in the sense that we've always been here, but finally people are paying attention. And I was wondering for you guys, if there were any tangible benefits that you have seen or experienced this past year or at present, because there is this tide happening in the culture.
Yeah, we definitely have experienced that wave of obviously more recognition, more eyes looking at the brand, just looking in the jewelry realm, our name pops up a lot. So yeah, we have, gained more customers coming to our website, more traffic, moments like this where we get to talk about how we started and how we are as a team and a business. So yeah, and then also from that, there's retail opportunities that are coming our way, as well as collaborations and stuff like that. So yeah, we're definitely experiencing a lot more exposure and stuff like that. So yeah, we welcome it. We're very happy about that.
Yeah, but it's also like you said, like we've been here, so it is bittersweet in a way where it's like, you know, like we're happy about it, but then you also are kind of like, well, why couldn't you support Black-owned businesses 3 years ago? Like, what was holding you back then? That, you know, now that you feel that you have to do it now. So it's you know, it is bittersweet, but we are, you know, obviously thankful for it. And,
definitely forward and trying to, you know, make the most out of all of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and we're definitely proud of you and inspired by your work. And in some ways also grateful for the movement as well. That's helped us to discover some really amazing brands that we want to continue to support and to shine a light on. And I just wanted to also just to wrap up to kind of ask you what you're excited about in regards to what's next for Third Crown.
We have some collaborations in the works that we're working on right now that should be out soon, that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, we're super excited about those.
We're also working on our next collection that should be out later this year.
Yeah.
So we're happy about that as well.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about it yet?
Can you give us any?
Well, one of them kind of was shown during Fashion Week that just passed. So we have a collaboration with Jonathan Simkai.
Okay.
So we co-designed some pieces that are rooted from our art collection. Just kind of redesigned a few things that work back to his fall collection. So that should be coming out in the fall. But yeah, those pieces have kind of been captured on New York Fashion Week already, so you can definitely check those out. There's a few other ones that we can't speak about yet because they're still in the process. But we'll definitely let you know once it's ready to drop.
Yeah, please let us know so we can share that, and so that we can also buy some pieces and share that as well with our followers. I also wanted to mention to everyone listening that I am wearing the head-drawn 3-row earrings, which I believe Issa Rae wore in an episode of Insecure. Is that right?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. And then Jilene has the Arc Bangle that we've been talking so much about that's inspired by the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. And we will be linking all of these pieces in our feature. And I also wanted to say you can shop these pieces directly from the website as well. Are there other stockists that are currently carrying Third Crown?
Yeah, so Shop McMullen in Oakland, California. She has a lot of our pieces as well.
You're also on the Folklore as well. And then the Folklore also has the Farfetch shop as well. So we're on both of those. Anywhere else?
That's about it.
I think that's about it, yeah.
Okay, awesome. We will let our listeners know. And thank you both again for making the time to sit down with us. It was a pleasure just getting to know you and getting to see the faces behind this incredible jewelry line. I'm so excited to add more pieces to my collection.
And to share pieces.
Yeah, and to share. Well,
there you go.
She doesn't always give things back, so I got to be careful with that. Thank you both. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right,
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.